Spiral dynamics is very helpful for evaluating political candidates who are running for office, for evaluating political parties, and for understanding the culture wars. Almost all political conflicts, especially those we've been seeing in the United States recently and in Europe, are perfectly explained by spiral dynamics. In the US, it's basically stage blue/orange fighting against stage green/orange. Spiral dynamics, for example, for me has been very helpful in being able to evaluate political candidates. So when I see somebody running for office, I just ask myself, well, what stage of the spiral are they at? Which stages of the spiral are they trying to enable? How ideological and dogmatic are they about what stage they're at? And that helps me to evaluate how good of a candidate this would be. Basically, the best candidate is the one who's highest up the spiral. Ideally, we'd have stage yellow candidates, but there are so few of those to go around these days. Stage green is often the best you can get. And even that, most people oppose vehemently because it's too high above their own current level. The way that government and politics works is that voters generally only vote for their own stage. They're not smart enough to vote for a stage above the one that they're at. So if you're at stage blue, that's who you're going to vote for. If you're stage orange, you think the perfect political candidate is the most orange guy. If you're a stage green, you're going to want the most green Bernie Sanders type of candidate that there is. So in a sense, you're very unimaginative and you're very, very predictable with your political choices. Whereas if you're at stage yellow, you'll be a little bit more nuanced. But also there probably won't be very many candidates that you'll like. So spiral dynamics is useful for that. It's useful for evaluating political parties. For example, if you don't know spiral dynamics, then you might be tempted to do a false equivalency between the Republican Party in the US and the Democratic Party. But if you understand spiral dynamics, then you understand that actually the Democratic Party, they're not just two sides of the same coin. The Democratic Party is more cognitively and spiritually evolved than the Republican Party. That's just a fact that you will understand if you understand spiral dynamics. Now, you might not like that fact if you're in the Republican Party. Of course you won't. And that's precisely why you won't want to study spiral dynamics in this case. But if you're open-minded and you really care about the truth and you care about really understanding what's going on, then you will be able to see that even though the Democratic Party has many problems, it's certainly not perfect. It is certainly superior than the Republican Party right now. Now, that doesn't mean it's always going to be this way. In the next 100 years, that might change. Political parties are always changing. But see, without spiral dynamics, you might be tempted to think that Republican or Democrat, they're kind of similar, or they're just like two opposite poles. But they're not two opposite poles. There's a spiral. And there's the Democrats, but then the Democrats can evolve higher up the spiral as well. So the Democrats are not like the end point. There's higher to go above the Democrats. And the Democrats have a lot of work to do because they're really not that evolved. But the Republicans are less evolved. And that's important to recognize. That's important to know. See, no one on TV, no one who's doing political analysis will tell you this. Part of the reason why is because it's very controversial. Good luck getting a CNN anchor like Wolf Blitzer, for example, to tell you that that liberals are cognitively more developed than conservatives. That would be extremely polarizing and radical position. And if he said that, he would be called a liberal. But that's not a liberal position. That's just something that's coming from a deeper understanding of spiral dynamics. The culture wars, if you're trying to understand what those are about, that's all about spiral dynamics. Stages fighting against each other. And it's very unproductive. It's a huge waste of time. The culture wars distract us from actually doing good government, actually improving the systems that are creating the results for people. So by understanding the spiral, you're going to see that the culture wars are just different stages judging each other. And the sooner we can transcend that, the quicker we can improve our government and the better off most of us will be. There's all sorts of other governmental problems that we face, like prison reform, environmental problems, civil rights issues, poverty, racism, terrorism, crime, the drug war, immigration issues, all of these issues are made so much clearer if you understand spiral dynamics. The solutions to all of these problems will really only come at stage green or yellow. They will not come at the current stage that we're at, which is mostly blue and orange approaches to many of these problems. For example, when we're talking about the environment, the destruction, pollution of the environment, and global warming, these are very serious concerns that many people are starting to catch on to now, but still we're struggling as a society, we're struggling to really get leverage and to really start to take action on these environmental problems. Why is that? Well, if you understood spiral dynamics, you would understand that's because in order to care about the environment and to take ecological issues seriously, a person has to be at stage green or above. At stage blue, the person is too preoccupied with their dogmas and their religious traditions to care about any kind of emerging ecological crises, because those weren't present in their traditions. So, of course, to them, it's just a fantasy. And to stage orange people, they're too preoccupied with their own self-interested gaining of success, pursuing personal achievement and money and business success, that they don't have time to worry about ecological problems. They don't care about looking at how their strive for achievement and business success is actually causing massive ecological problems. They don't care about that because, hey, me first. I got to take care of myself first before I worry about the environment, before I worry about the animals, before I worry about other people's kids drinking polluted water, or before I worry about some sort of rising sea levels. Like, to them, that doesn't compute, because at stage orange, all I care about is just advancing me and my family financially. So by understanding this, we can go and we can reconfigure our education system such that our education system helps to move people up to stage green. And then once they're at green, they'll be much more environmentally conscious. And then we can actually start to take action on the environment. See? Then those stage green people can vote in stage green politicians who will then also actually care about the environment. Because most of the politicians we have right now, they're stage orange or below. So they don't care about the environment. As long as some corporation pays them money, they'll look the other way. But if they were at stage green, they would be too conscious and too developed to be able to just look the other way. So all these issues, drug war, immigration, the solutions are really stage green and stage orange, stage yellow solutions. And many of the solutions that are being proposed right now are stage orange solutions, which just won't work. They're unsustainable. Or even worse, stage blue solutions, which are regressive